Welcome to this afternoon's pre-meeting. First order of business is to find out if any board member would like to take any of the regular meeting business agenda items for discussion. All right, hearing none, we'll go into our first item, which is the MARTA Q1 quarterly briefing.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, before we begin, item 2 does not need to be discussed. I want to go ahead and put on record, we don't need to have that discussion today.
Okay, we will not be hearing item 2.
No.
Is MARTA ready? I can't hear you, ma'am. Come up and take the podium.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Great to see you all. Can we check the status of our fearless leaders, our CEO, Mr. Greenwood? He is en route. Can I just see how close he is, or would you want
Please
us
see
to just
how close he is.
let her rip?
I want to
Okay.
hold this board up if he's
Totally,
not.
I'll do it if I need to, but let me just
Okay.
see how close he is.
All right. All right, we'll give him a couple of minutes to come inside. He is here. Mr. Greenwood, welcome. And we're waiting on you. You walk from the door to the podium.
The efficiency of Clayton County.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Perfect, thank you.
Afternoon.
It's 5:30.
All right, so here are March 7th, Clayton County Q1 update. I want to thank you all for your indulgence in my getting here. I want to also acknowledge our MARTA board members, Catherine Powers and Valencia Williamson, watching remotely. And Chairman Turner, if it's all right with you, I'll just proceed with the presentation.
Please, but one note. Ms. Williamson is right behind you. So
Thank you, Ms. Williamson. Thank you. I thought I'd be the first one here. Okay, so our usual agenda, operations updates and some capital expansions. Starting with the operations updates, just happy to report that our ridership continues to make that rebound to pre-COVID numbers. We are still low. We're at 62% on the bus side and 52% on the rail side, with mobility getting up to 80% of its pre-COVID ridership. But the main key here, even though in December, you'll see every December there's like a perennial dip around the holidays, but year over year we continue to improve. You can see that in fact, our FY23 revenue budget was for 65 million revenue rides, and we came in projected for 70 million revenue rides. So that trend continues to improve, largely because we've been very successful in recruiting. At a point where we were about 250 operators short at the peak of COVID, we are now in the high 90 percentile in terms of the operators that we need. The issue right now is actually absenteeism, and we are working, we're restructuring some of our internal organizational charts and working on some incentives to disincentivize absenteeism and add incentives for good attendance. But the fact is, in some cases, we're up to 25% absenteeism in some of our bus divisions. A leftover, if you will, from the COVID era, but also some practices that really needed to be improved. So we're working on that. A quick update on the MARTA Reach pilot program. We are now, of course, we've completed the pilot session, and we are now in the midst of board discussions to be held this spring. Over 50% of our riders were under 44 years of age, so that's rather telling in terms of, you know, the whole personal phone demand service for transit. So there's hope for this method of transit in terms of our ridership today and our ridership tomorrow. Ultimately, on-demand component appears to be a very viable option for inclusion in the overall transit mix as we come back with our bus network redesign and our REACH program combined together for one comprehensive service offering. As I said, we're talking to our board starting this spring in terms of what that looks like. Over to capital expansion, I want to just start by laying any concerns that may have been generated by some incomplete, premature, and inaccurate allegations about the state of MARTA's finances for Clayton County. And at the end of the day, this is our sources and uses. It's a 10-year look over our CIP, Capital Investments Program. And the bottom line there is, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, is 1287.7, and above that 1360.8. So the revenues outpace the expenses. And that was the case. We submitted this was over 10 months ago. That's actually an excerpt from what we have to give to the Federal Transit Administration, the FTA, in terms of entering into project design. So these are our official numbers. This is what we stand behind. And in fact, things have only gotten better since then with our credit rating status. You may have heard that Standard & Poor's and Kroll, two top international credit rating services, independent of MARTA, absolutely, gave a loud endorsement from the forensic finance industry, talking about prudent board policies and fiscal management and stewardship. These are the things on the left side with the check marks. These are the things they cited in terms of giving us what, you know, we used to have a AA+ rating, which is high for a transit agency. They've now upgraded us to perfect, which there are only 4 or 5 agencies in the country that have a AAA rating, and now your MARTA is one of them. So what it means is better financing and refinancing rates. It means a more efficient delivery of capital projects because we're actually able to benefit from better rates. Our financial team estimates that we can expect savings in the range of $20 to $25 million on a $1 billion bond over 30 years. I can give you a quick update on our bus shelters and amenities. We continue to progress with our 1,000 bus shelters amenities program. We're in our 4th year now. All 30 amenities planned for 2022 have been installed, bringing the total countywide number to 88. In terms of FY23 amenities, there are 3 of them already installed, 8 under construction, 2 in permitting, and 17 in design. Invite you to take a look at the full report that we brought with us today in terms of our amenities update. And of course, the prerequisite before and after. In this case, this is the first amenity in 2023 that was installed for the 192 route at Terra Boulevard and Village Lane. 16 daily weekday boardings, and more importantly, I mean, you'll see there that we have a spot to sit down and the waste receptacle, you know, shelter from the sun and protection from water overhead and underfoot. But more importantly, you'll see that there is a sidewalk, and that's a great segue into what we want to talk about next, which is safe routes to transit. And I just, you know, at the conclusion of our amenities update, we really want to report that we have a new federal funding program to begin a safe routes to transit program. A total of $2 million is now available to improve pedestrian safety and access to our existing amenities that may lack adequate sidewalk connections and other infrastructure. We're in the process of analyzing how these funds can best serve our existing and planned amenities and be leveraged with local partners to maximize the number of amenity improvements. So you can see that 35 of our 118 amenities are currently without sidewalks. And those sidewalk connections are critical, so we're going to start with those 35 can be considered for safe routes to transit improvements. In other words, of all our amenities, 35 of them, they're there, but they don't have sidewalks. We're going to make sure that part of this funding goes towards making sure that sidewalks are a part of that product. And then moving forward, as we expand, sidewalks are expected to be a part of the equation. We really want to thank Representatives David Scott and Nakima Williams and Senator Raphael Warnock for their support of these budget allocations to Clayton. I also want to say that the Clayton MARTA liaison officer will be key in assisting with the process of determining where these sidewalks and amenities or sidewalks are being placed. In terms of updates, the Justice Center Transit Hub update, it's the 30% design package will be shared with the Commission in May, where the final design will follow within 2 months of that. We're really looking forward to better serving a major bus transfer point in Clayton County with 8 bays, future BRT and fixed route articulated bus space, restrooms, vending services, police precinct, a canopy, customer service kiosk, and lighting. We'll also have TOD involved in this project with municipal services and facilities, external development, and residential as well being considered into that. We did have a delay in this program, and although there's no date stipulation in the 15th Amendment, we were hoping for a 2024 completion. We are now slowed to 2025, maybe early 2026, and that really is an internal problem that MARTA has discovered and solved. So moving forward, the roadblock to that, which was really administrative in terms of how we pass costing numbers on in different files, our chief capital officer and our chief operating officer have gotten together and solved that problem. So we'll be moving at a faster pace on that project. Did I talk about, so South Lake Bus Rapid Transit update, just a continued progress on that file as well. It's into the Small Starts program submittal this summer, and we're updating the ridership forecast model as well. I want to say that we're assisting jurisdictions on the adoption of recommended transit supportive zoning ordinances, and that is when we got together with our partners, they identified some safety concerns through that process, and so we're making sure that at each of those intersections the problems are addressed. But yeah, this is the first MARTA project to enter the FTA capital investment program since the 90s, and it includes examining transit-oriented development, sustainability, and environmental justice, as well as the corridor improvements I just spoke of. Last year, Clayton County amended its comprehensive development plan with transit supportive updates. A next step towards improving our project rating and preparing the BRT corridors for smart development is targeting zoning updates along the planned alignment.
Excuse me, Mr. Greenwood.
Sure.
According to the information I had, I think you skipped over the bus operations and maintenance facility.
Yeah, my slides are in a different order, so I will get back to that. Thank you.
I digressed then. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem. And anyway, we'll see what's up next. Bus Rapid Transit update on the State Route 54. So let me start by saying the LPA was in November 2022 with approval of the BRT as a preferred mode. We are now evaluating the alignment options and identifying station locations. We did meet with the CAB to confirm the strategy for the Bureau and other engagement strategies with a public meeting this summer. We're assisting the jurisdictions on adoption of recommended transit supportive zoning ordinances. And I'm gonna have to go back and find, there it is. All right, so in terms of the Clayton multi-purpose, this is, the team's continuing to work with this. It's the good news here is that even though we say that we've got small parcel fully acquired and large parcel in condemnation process, I can report now that we now have both parcels firmly in hand. So we're working through that. This is the, of course, it's the gem here. It's a huge 250 bus facility that will bring a lot of jobs, up to 700 jobs, in fact, to Clayton County, 400 of them permanent, 300 of them involved in the building process. And so we're very excited about that. The federal investment project for this project is almost $35 million, which is the largest federal investment to date that MARTA has enjoyed. I think I've covered our BRTs. Upcoming events, so tomorrow, South Metro Development Outlook Conference, so that's coming up as Marta speaks. A lot of our content will be related to Clayton County. March 25th, the first Gooder Mobile Grocery Market is off and running, and we'll be serving 100 Clayton families with fresh vegetables, fresh groceries. The MARTA reps will be on site for giveaways and information on the BRT expansion. I also want to mention on that we'll launch the first mobile market and food gifting program in Clayton County this month. And of course, Gooder was founded and managed by Jasmine Crow. You may recall us saying she's an Atlanta-based food impact organization which simply gets groceries and meals to local communities and families and children and seniors in need. So we've initiated contact with each commissioner's office to plan and identify the most impactful locations and to spread the word about these events. This is just another example of the good partnership between Clayton County and MARTA in bringing fresh food to those in need. And a bit about Artbound. This is Mr. Brian Hebert. He is joining 6 other advisory council members who will together bring their perspectives and individual talents to support and amplify the work of MARTA Artbound in the jurisdictions that we serve. Mr. Hibbert is a visual artist and curator and educator. In 2001, actually, he helped to start the visual arts program at the Southwest Arts Center and built that program for 18 years. So he taught visual arts at Henry County School System, and he brings his talents to the MARTA Council to help with our objectives, namely to increase foot traffic in our designed areas, to increase engagement, and to increase customer enjoyment and appreciation of the arts and the spaces that they are in. And one more item to really focus in on is our DBE roundtable. So MARTA's been inspired to make sure that we do more to better address the pinch points of DBE firms working with MARTA. So we had 2 meetings, one in September and then a follow-up in December to kind of ask the DBE community what the pinch points were and how we could better serve them moving forward. So 13 firms participated. They're listed over on the right side there, and the outcomes were listed there on the left. They spoke to the issues of timely payments, overhead audit requirements, and communication challenges and opportunities that our DBEs could enjoy. So the outcomes are positive as listed on the slide, including a brand new module created for our online invoicing system, otherwise known as OLIS. Through this model, our sub-consultants can now log into the system, see their invoice amounts, see the dates they were submitted, and where in the approval process their invoices are. So hitherto, prior to this was not available to our DBE subs. Now, through the work of the team and MARTA's responsiveness, they are better able to do that. So this work continues in partnership, and we plan to host 2 of these roundtables every year, inviting a different set of DBE sub-consultants with each series. This will help improve the DBE access to opportunities at MARTA, and they in turn will help MARTA achieve its operations and maintenance and expansion goals more quickly. And with that, Chairman Turner, I return the floor to you.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions for Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin?
First of all, thank you so very much. I was really pleased to hear about the funding for the sidewalks. Of course, that's something we've been working on for a while now. So with CD 13 and CD 5, what I'd like to ask more so than the question for you is ask that our staff works hand in hand, because of the fact that the county has a fund for some of these, I guess, areas that have developed out, and they were able to pay in because they're required to put sidewalks in. I just want to sure up that we're not duplicating services in areas, because every dime counts. So if there's funding for a particular area, I want to make sure that that funding comes from the source that's already there, that allows us to be able to let that $2 million go a little bit further, although it ain't as much as we need,
Agreed.
as the cost
Agreed.
of sidewalks because of the way we have to acquire land. But that's good news. The bottom line in this work, it's good news. And then also request that we work with GDOT as well. I think there's been a break in communication. And honestly, we own it as a county because really we're the point people, because we've got to make sure that all of those external entities are working collectively. That's one of the reasons we did vote on that liaison. So I'm going to be looking forward to those votes, working to make sure for efficiency and effectiveness on behalf of the citizens of the county.
Understood.
Okay, wonderful. The other thing is, I'm very pleased about that hub, and I want to give this gentleman a shout out. Let me tell you, there's a gentleman that he's retired military, but he used to come before this board and complain about where your buses were sitting, blocking our aquatic center, and this came out of that problem that was before you. And I want to make sure that we know that the folks worked hard to make this happen. I'm glad that you found out where the ball was dropped. It does need to be completed.
Yes.
We turned lemons into lemonade, but we got to sweeten it a little more. And the way we sweeten it a little more is, again, the county needs to make sure that our areas are well lit. That jail is not lit up out there. That's not just on the hub is there. We were just at the rec center the other night. It's not lit up. Lighting is not where it needs to be throughout the county. So again, that's going to be some coordinated efforts, but I'm really excited about that. And then the other thing is Jasmine Crow. Tell me about that. Is our funding supporting that, or are they sourcing the fruits and the vegetables? Just want to know a little bit more about that program.
Yeah, it's a placemaking effort that MARTA has taken on themselves, and MARTA is doing it in partnership with Gooder. And in some cases, there are third parties that come in and assist in terms of us having the money for the vehicles or equipping the vehicles in some cases to make that mobile system work. But the funds don't come from Clayton County.
It doesn't?
No.
Does it come from the overarching funds that we submit to?
No,
Oh,
it's just
okay.
from MARTA's core funds.
Okay. All right. That's a tricky one. But I'm really excited about that. And the Artbound program, that was the last thing. Keep in mind, and I want to say thank you, again, for making sure that our citizens could get back and forth to our new cultural arts facility, which is our Black Box Theater at the Flint River Community Center. And we're excited about that because MARTA partnered with us to ensure that the citizens had a way there. There's a bus stop and a shelter right there in front of that facility with adequate lights. So I want to give kudos to you all and to the team for getting that project done. So thank you so very much.
You're
and
very
then
welcome.
while you're here, I guess I'll go ahead and make this announcement. Part of the reason because of that partnership, we can announce that Clayton County has the Youth of the Year for all of the state of Georgia. Mr. Elias Dennis won. So you need to be proud. That's at our Boys and Girls Club. And again, you all share in that win. Because before he could drive, I'm sure he had to find another way to get there.
That's great.
So,
That's a great story. Thank you for that.
Any other questions for Mr. Greenwood?
I have a question.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes, I was looking at the, and I want to say kudos, thank you for those sidewalks by the shelter areas. So is there a timeline for the shelters and when they'll all be built throughout the county?
So we're in year 4 of a 5-year program,
Okay.
1,000 amenities. So one more year before that program closes.
Okay,
And I believe it's 30 amenities a year in Clayton County.
30, okay. Thank you,
You're welcome.
and thank you for the great work.
Any
My
other
pleasure.
questions?
Yeah. The
Commissioner
liaison
Davis.
for the sidewalks is on again?
I've got his name written down here. Was it? I'll find it in 1 second. Just pardon me 1 second while I look for his name. Adam Ivory.
Thank you. Any others?
can you introduce him? I think he's in audience. They're pointing to him.
Oh. Thank you, Adam.
Well, I would just like to say I'm happy to hear that the Clayton County projects are still ongoing and in full mode. So we appreciate what MARTA is bringing to Clayton County and the work that you have been doing here, and most of all, keeping us informed. So thank you for the work that
My pleasure. Thank you.
and you and your staff, because you've got a great staff.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be here without them. Thank you
All
very
right.
much,
Thank you,
everyone.
sir.
Okay.
All right, unless there's anything else before this board, we will stand in adjournment. All right.